Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Hands on SAP Dev again with me, DJ Q Macro. It's Friday, and what's the date today? Friday, 27th of January. Almost the end of January 2023. So welcome. It's almost the weekend as well. I've got a new microphone. Well, new as in I've got my old microphone back from storage. Let me know. Good morning, Antonio. Good morning, and anybody, including Antonio, let me know in the chat whether everything is okay. You can see me okay. I'm just going to check over here. I think everything is okay. Yeah, I've just reconfigured the microphone. I've just spent the last 5 minutes messing around with the filter, the chroma key filter, because if I lift my, I was lifting my arms up and I could see some shadow, some black dot shadow under my arms because I haven't got the lighting right. I've got a light down there. I've got my Elgato key light there, but I just can't get it working. You can see me, but can you hear me? I hope you can. Obviously, if you'd see my mouth moving and not any sound coming out, say something, right? Hopefully the sound is a little bit better. I have been using the microphone on my Logitech StreamCam. Thank you, Antonio, which has been okay, more than fine. But I think the Blue Yeti on this arm here is better. I could move it a little bit further over, but I think that you'd see the actual frame in the picture. But anyway, so welcome. I've got my coffee, got my Hands on SAP Dev mug, auth at 8 a.m. Remember that? That reminds me, actually, it's 20 years. It's the 20-year anniversary birthday of the web-based SAP community. Make a specific distinction, or explicitly saying web-based, because of course there was communities in the SAP space before that, but the SAP community as we know it on the web today, it started out as the SAP Developer Network. That's been going for 20 years. And it made me think, how many episodes of Hands on SAP Dev have we done? I was thinking maybe we could all have guesses as to how many Hands on SAP Dev episodes there are. I have no idea. So I'm going to make a guess as well. But I won't say that because I've probably got the most idea because, I do them. So yeah, let me know in the chat how many you think there are. And next week, we'll, hopefully between now and then, I'll work it out. And then we can see how near or how far our guesses were. Good morning to Helmut. Good morning, AP. Yeah, I want to sort of have a more relaxed, back to basics, as it says there, episode today, especially for the beginners. And there's multiple reasons. One reason which struck me, I've been preparing a new code jam, some content, 100. That's a good guess, actually. That doesn't sound unreasonable. Yeah. I'd be really annoyed, for example, if this was like episode 101 and we missed the opportunity to celebrate, a milestone. I honestly don't know how many. It just made me think when I was making the coffee this morning. Anyway, talking of coffee, I've put in the chat above already the link to this week's SAP Developer News. And I say talking of coffee because Antonio had a brilliant background with his coffee making paraphernalia in the background, the La Pavoni Livre Espresso machine, beautiful. There's also, see if you can tell what we all as developer advocates are finding quite important at the moment, because there's an item that two people cover. Because we tripped up over each other. It's probably my fault. So we'll see if you can spot what the item is. Don't go and watch it now. Stay here. But see if you can tell what item we covered twice by mistake. But anyway, that's how I almost looked at the microphone. That's how important it is. Right. Anyway, so let's go to the main scene. Because what I want to talk about today and sort of discover with you is stuff on the SAP API Business Hub. And one of the reasons why I thought I want to go slow today and do a more of a back to basics thing is because sometimes it is a beautiful espresso machine, yes, and it makes great coffee. Sometimes, we're in such a rush to get from A to B. We don't enjoy the journey, or we don't benefit from the journey. So what I thought we'd do is, focus on a particular API. Good morning, Donato. Good morning to you and welcome. Focus on an API and have a look at it on the SAP API Business Hub and sort of explore a few things that we might not normally look at, and then, see where we go. So there's no major sort of excitement here. It's just sort of, oh yeah, what's this? What's that? For example, I was just sitting here with this screen in front of me, staring at it. And then I noticed this little play button. It's like, what the heck is that? I've never seen that before, and that's partly the point, and you click on that, you get some sort of get started with SAP API Business Hub. So check it out. Share. Why don't I share that with you? I've no idea. I've not watched that, but let me share that with you as well, right? There we go. Okay. So what I thought we'd do is pick an API that's been in my mind because I'm working on this new CodeJam content, and it's the business partner API. And everybody understands what a business partner is. It's a customer, it's a supplier, it's some sort of person or entity that has humans in it. It might be a company that you're dealing with. Some sort of business partner, right? And find out about the API, the business partner API, on the SAP API Business Hub. It's quite a mouthful. I might say API Hub as a shortened version during this session. So yeah, let's explore and see what we can find. Now, I've never really. Good morning, Peter, and welcome into a very relaxed, laid-back hands-on SAP Dev episode. I'm going to explore because I never normally go up here. I always just thought you would do a search, but I'm going to go to explore and look at SAP S4 HANA Cloud. Okay, there's all sorts of things here, and specifically look at the APIs because in the SAP API Business Hub, there's all sorts of stuff, not just APIs. There are integrations, there are business processes, there are workflows, there are cloud event definitions, all sorts of things. So it's worth exploring a little bit. But anyway, I know that the business partner API is an OData v2 API. I know that from having messed around with it a while ago. So I'm going to sort of narrow in packages. So again, just sort of orientate ourselves, figure out where we are on the map. We're in the API Hub. We're looking at the SAP S4 HANA Cloud sort of product. Within the product, we have events, CDS views, all these different things. Within the APIs, we're looking at packages. Now, a package of APIs, and this is the symbol for a package, this sort of earth with three prongs coming out of it, right? That's a package of APIs. So if we, for example, if we look at click on that, then we get, okay, that's a package of one API. Then we get one API, and the API symbol is that symbol there. So let's go back. I'm going to filter down to OData v2. We get 18 pages worth. Not that many on a page, but there we go. Let's go through. In fact, let's search for business partner. Let's search for business event subscription, queue, read, blah blah blah. Business situation, business partner. So we've narrowed down now to what I remember as the API. Now, does anybody know what A2X means, what A2X signified? It did make me wonder for ages, like, A2X, what? Because you've seen A2A, you see B2B, B2C, all these different sort of, three-letter, well, actually, letters and numbers, three alphanumeric acronyms. B2B, business to business, B2C, business to consumer, etc. There's also A2A, which is application to application. But does anybody know what A2X signifies, or stands for, and then subsequently signifies? I'll leave that question sort of hanging in the air. Put it in the chat what you think it might be. I didn't know. It's like, what the heck? But it's a thing, it's a thing. And it makes sense as well, right? Well, yeah, Antonio's got it. I don't know whether Antonio's being sort of polite and letting somebody else go, but yeah, the first parts of the first two characters, A and 2, is application to something. But what's the X represent? And while we're thinking of that, let's just have a look what we've got here. Last modified, was that what, 25th? Last modified a couple of days ago. Ooh, okay, cool. Okay, fine. But anyway, what have we got here? We've got a general overview. We can view the API reference. That'll take us to there. Check the schema view. Okay, well, what's that? I've no idea. This is the data definitions of all the different entities. Let's use the right words here. All the different entities. So email address. Let's have a look at that. So we got the different properties and their types and everything, and some sort of constraints as well. Let's go back to the overview though. Application to anything. Ooh, that's a good guess actually. That's a good guess. Anybody else want to proffer a suggestion as to what X stands for? We've also got various attributes here. This is, I don't really know much about what these are. Obviously, these are the different scopes and communication scenarios, as it says on the left-hand side, I just realised. But where business partner is involved, which sort of communication scenarios, system-to-system communication. We're not going to look at that. API specification. We'll look at that shortly. Look at that. We've got different downloadable things. We've got the JSON, we've got YAML, we've got EDMX. So we can download the API specification, which we'll do, and have a look at it. Okay, so this is where you might go to a service and say, oh yeah, I'm interested in this API. What does it look like? What's the technical details? How can I get that and plug it into something, into a library that I've got, or an SDK or something that then I can maybe generate a client stub so I can start calling that API. Okay, so that's really important. Good morning, Merve. Good morning, Merve. Good morning. I can smell burning. Hang on. I'm going to turn the heating off just in case something's going on. I have got a candle in the background as well. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's sort of about to burn out. But yeah, I don't want to sort of go up in flames during the live stream. Anyway, extensibility. What's that? Okay, yeah, extensibility is supported. We can extend the business partner API. API can be extended by custom fields on the following business context. Okay, we're not looking to do extensions right now. What authentication methods are available? We've got basic authentication. We've got X5. I don't think that's complete, because you can also, I think, authenticate. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is. Is this also not protected by OAuth? Interesting. We'll maybe look at that next time. And yeah, let's look at the API specifications shortly. Let's go to the API reference. We've done the schema view. Cloud SDK. So the Cloud SDK is effectively a really well established development kit for Java and for JavaScript and TypeScript as well, where you can generate client libraries. Okay, so if you're interested in building sort of applications that consume various APIs in the SAP space, then you need to look at the SAP Cloud SDK if you want to build it from scratch on your own, but using an SDK like this. Good morning, Matthias. Good morning, and good morning, Santiago as well. But what I want to look at is the API reference. Oh, hello. Yes, there we go. So this is where I mostly go. By the way, has anybody got any more ideas as to what the X stands for in A2X? Put it in the chat. I do know the answer because I looked it up. So I'll let you know in a minute. But basically, yeah, email address, fax number, home page URL, phone number, so business partner, contact person. These are all sort of credit worthiness. That's quite interesting. So we have everything and anything relating to business partner. We've even actually got here, down here, an actual business partner. So if we do a get, so this is an endpoint. I don't know what you call these. I call these groups. Okay, so in the business partner group, we've got endpoints. So we've got obviously different endpoints that can be interacted with different HTTP verbs, methods. And if we hit the get, retrieve general data fields of all the business partner records available in the system. So we get all the different parameters, and because this is an OData API, we see standard OData system query options, $top, $skip, $filter, $inline count. So these aren't specific to this particular API endpoint, nor are these specific to this particular API or even API package. These are standard OData system query options, okay? And we can tell the standard because they begin with $, right? We did, didn't we? Did we? Yeah, we did. We did a series last year. Good morning, Marianne. Good morning and welcome. We did a series last year, I think the 3-part series on OData on Hands-on SAP Dev. Yeah, if you want to know more about OData, I'll stick the link in the description of this video when I do it after this. And you can also see the types of responses. Oh, look at that! Look at that, D. That tells me more than anything else in the world that this is an OData v2 API. So this is that we talked about this, ages ago. This is, this is a way of returning a list of entities in the response to a retrieval, an OData query, in a secure manner. Okay, I'm not going to go into why it's data, why it has to be sort of encapsulated or sort of enclosed in as a value of a property of an object. But anyway, we can see we get an array of results. I really have a hard time reading anything that's JSON when it's not in monospace. Okay, so we'll look at that maybe ourselves shortly. In fact, can we try it out? Yeah, we can try it out. Try it out. So this is what I would normally do when sort of finding my way through the in the dark, like what do I need to do? What's this? How does this feel? What's this look like? And in the API hub, we get a sandbox environment, and we can run it. Let's go again. Get email address. I have no idea, right? Let's try to run that request. See what happens. There we go. So we did the request URL, and look, we got the sandbox API.sap.com, S4HANA Cloud. That's the sort of package name. SAP OPU OData. Now, if that's not a phrase that is permanently embedded in my brain because of my prior experience building OData services on the ABAP stack, I don't know what is. So that tells me straight away that this is an OData service that comes from an ABAP system. Okay, S4HANA Cloud, underneath it's an ABAP stack. OPU, occasional platform user, when OData, when the OData protocol was first embraced by SAP a long time ago, a major milestone in my book. It was predominantly for to allow external consumption of SAP data, and external consumption by people who use web-based interfaces to go and interact with some SAP data. They were occasional users of the platform, occasionally platform users. Anyway, that's a digression. So we get the API business partner API name, and then we get the endpoint address. Now, by the way, we'll be talking about what the X in A2X stands for. I'll tell you, because I looked it up. Cross-application, application to cross-application. And all that means is that rather than application to application, A to A, which you will also see against APIs in the API Business Hub, A to A is where you have applications talking to applications. So back-end system talking to back-end system. Okay, so give me the data. Okay, thank you very much. Change this data. Okay, I've done it. That sort of thing. Whereas A2X, an A2X style API often is used as the final API that might be consumed in the front end, right? Not in the back end by another application, but in the front end. And therefore, such an API might, in the responses, and also in the metadata about it, convey information about information that could influence the user interface. So it carries information. Not only does it carry the business data, but it also carries potentially information about how semantically that business data can be used in a UI. Think of Fiori elements, for example, and the annotations in the metadata, in OData metadata, that are used by Fiori elements to work out how to display data in the browser. Okay, so that is what X stands for cross application. Okay. Good morning, Mark. Better late than ever. Nobody's ever late to this. If you turn up, that's great. Thank you very much. Good morning to Mark in Kiel. Application to X users. Exactly. I mean, it's sometimes called application to X users, and it's also sometimes called application to cross application. Doesn't really matter. We're all friends here. Acronyms can mean anything you want, really. But it also reminds me, and Antonio pointed me to a really good article. I think it was on the SAP Press website as to why these endpoints begin A underscore. Does anybody know that? You know, and also tell me, is it just me that is wondering, asking questions all the time? Why is that? What's the A to X? What's the A underscore? Why is it A underscore? What's going on? Or, you know, is that just me, or do we all, hopefully we all do that, because we want to understand everything. So we've just tried it out. So the API Business Hub is a really comfortable way of trying things out and just having a feel, getting a feel, you know, I think it was Boise in Only Fools and Horses said, stand aside, let the dog see the rabbit. Let the dog see the rabbit. And this is me, the dog, seeing the rabbit. I want to touch the data. I want to see what it feels like. And get a better understanding as a back-end sort of person, or even a front-end person, what does that data look like? How does it work? Mark, that's a brilliant answer as to what A underscore stands for, to show it on top in alphabetical order. Thank you, Antonio, for sharing that. In SICF, I say yes. So it's to do with, blog.sappress.com, blah, 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 blah. Right. It's to do with the virtual data model. And if you think about CDS in predominantly the ABAP environment, and HANA, of course, you have these different views, consumption views, interface views, and so on. And the sort of the topmost, as we rise up out of the layers, the topmost sort of view that is made available to external parties is the API view. Okay, so yeah, so in fact, can I click on that one there? Let's have a look at that. Where is it? Where did it go? There we go, SAP Press blog. And the blog post here in the SAP Press blog is the virtual data model. There's a diagram here. There we go, look. Let me open out a new tab. Oh, it's not that diagram I wanted. Oh, it's this diagram. There we go. There. We have the database table itself right underneath, and you've got some basic views, some composite views, some consumption views, but you also have the externally accessible remote API views. Okay, so the A underscore is from this virtual data model. I'm not going to say hierarchy, but the virtual data model of how things are organized at different levels of abstractness and different levels of consumption and different levels of availability. Okay, does that make sense? Anyway, so that's that. Thanks for sharing that, Antonio. Let's close that and go over here. Now, enough talking. Why don't we go back to the overview? And what I want to do is just feel a little bit closer. You know, I'm on the web browser here, but I want to be able to sort of touch things a little bit, you know, a little bit more specifically with my finger. So I'm going to download the API specification. Okay, so API specification, I'm going to download the EDMX one. So in fact, let's download them all. Okay, oh dear. Let's go into Scratch. Let's just create a new thing. Hands on, we should call it Hands on SAP Dev. Hands on SAP Dev. Feels really weird using the Finder in Mac OS. I'm normally in the terminal, but there we go. API Business Partner.json. Let's also download the YAML. Let's download all of them. YAML, come on, hello, yes. YAML. And also the EDMX. What does the EDMX stand for? Entity Data Model in XML. So let's go to, I've downloaded all those now. Let's have a look at them, shall we? Let's have a look at them. Can't think of anything else what to do. So let's go into start. There we go. There. Okay, so let's go to Scratch, Hands on SAP Dev. There we go. Oh, now I feel a little bit more. Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah, there we go. So that, okay, that is not sort of friendly. Okay, we could go into the JSON. That's quite nice. Okay, So we get the, so in fact, if we look at the email address, we've got the A address, email address. That's what is that what we saw in the API reference, email address, A address, email address. So that's that, okay? So we get that, received email addresses, email address data linked. Okay, we got all sorts of things here. We could play with JSON until our, hearts were content. However, what I think we should do, let's look at the YAML as well. That's crazy. But what I think we should look at is the EDMX. Now, I have in my Chrome browser an extension which will nicely format XML, because the EDMX, as we can see here, ignore that because I've just been messing around with my my neovim install this morning. Packer, let's fix that sync. Packer sync, there we go. Let's just install all the things. And while we're doing that, I'm just going to that's quick, it's done. Quit out there, go in there, edit it again. There we go, that's better. But yes, I would like to install language server. Okay, thank you very much. This is unexpectedly random, but there we go. By the way, okay. Oh, so Marianne says, I know I and C, but didn't know all the others, like D for abstract entity. Lots more prefix and suffix available. SAP is really good at inventing new ones every day. We like to keep you on your toes, Marianne. I like to keep you on your toes. Let's open this. Let's just go to the Chrome browser and open this in the browser. Now that's not very helpful, is it? Because I think, in fact, let's do a symbolic link. Link API Business Partner.edmx to API Business Partner.xml. Let's go back there and open that now. Oh, hold on. Open that now in XML. Hopefully, there we go. Oh, now we're talking. Now we're talking. Does this look familiar? I'm starting now to feel a little bit more comfortable, a little bit closer to the API. Okay, so this is the metadata for the OData service that represents or presents or makes available the business partner, the API business partner API, which has multiple endpoints. Now, this is not about going through a megaton. Look at the size of this file. Look at the size of it. Whoa. Right? This is not about going through here. But let's have a quick, de-scarification. That's a word I just made up. Let's just dispel any sort of fear by having a quick look through here. Is that big enough? Let me make it a little bit bigger. We're going to ignore these references for now, because these are references to various vocabularies in relation to annotations, which are also in this EDMX file. I did notice when I was scrolling down, but we don't need to know these. And actually collapsing those, it doesn't really help, does it? I was like, oh, great, thanks. Yeah, that's really saved a lot of space. But anyway, forget those references. The rest of the stuff, that's it. So we get these references, and the rest of the content is inside this data services element. Okay, and within the data services elements, we get a schema. So it's just effectively a single path down the element sort of hierarchy in the metadata that we get to what we're really looking for. So within that schema, we get, I'm not going to collapse them all, different entity types. Remember that an API like this is going to consist of things you can query, create, read, update, and delete. Things. What things? Entities, right? And these things are collected into entity sets, collections. So a collection of email addresses or a collection of business partners, right? And the way that these APIs are defined, you can see that there's a ton of entity types. And in fact, if we search for a business partner, we get a bit. We don't get, in fact, entity type name. I don't think there is a business partner. No, okay. So I've searched for entity type name equals a underscore business partner, close quotes, but there isn't one. So there's not a direct correlation with the, where is it? With the business partner there. There's not a direct correlation with this thing here, so we've got to figure out what this thing is from a metadata perspective. It's not it's not the name in the metadata that we're looking for. What we're looking for, or what we're seeing here, if I remove that double quote, we get entity type name equals a business partner type. Okay, and we get these annotations here. This is OData v2, remember? And we get a definition. And this definition has some properties, one of which is a key, business partner. Okay, so when we have a look at that, in fact, where was it? Overview, schema view, business partner, where is it? Business partner 1 of 14, where is it? Business partner relationship, is it there? Business partner, there we go, business partner. So we get business partner, customer, supplier, academic title, business partner, customer, supplier, academic title, and so on, right? This is, these are the crown jewels. These are the super most important thing. This is the definition that is like the, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm just making some words up while I'm trying to figure out what I really want to say, which is the, I can't think what the phrase is. This is the most important. This is the sine qua non for you Latin scholars, without which nothing. This is the ultimate source of information, source of truth. So we have this entity type. So let's just do a search for a business partner type, and we can see we get the reference to the business partner type qualified by the name of the schema here, and then down here, where is it? Down here somewhere. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Entity set name equals a business partner. So this is the definition in the EDMX, in the OData metadata, that defines an entity set, a collection of entities. The entity set name is a business partner, which is, where's the thing? API reference. Come on, hello, what? API reference, business partner, is the thing that's returned there, right? Where is it? There. These things here, this object, make that bigger. This object is effectively business partner, customer, supplier, academic title, authorization group, is the object that's defined by this entity type, a business partner dot a business partner type, right? Now, I would encourage you to find an EDMX file like this and stare at it. Good morning, Christian, and stare at it and become comfortable. Don't, I see so often folks look at the metadata and go, oh my goodness me, that's too complicated, but it's not. It tells you everything you need to know. However, there is an easier way, a more gentle sort of step towards this. And I want to show you that. Okay. Hello. How do I get rid of that thing? I don't know. Some pop-ups come on my other screen here, but I can't get rid of it. What I'm going to do is open up this file in VS Code, and I've got an extension installed. Shouldn't we name an entity set in plural? Now that's a really good question. So Mark's asking, where's the thing now? Where is it here? So the name of the entity set is a business partner, singular. And I think my brain oscillates between whether they should be singular and whether they should be plural. Now, there are naming conventions. Why can I smell burning? I can smell burning. Hold on, I'm just going to check something. I've just blown the candle out. The candle was still going, so hopefully it was the candle I can smell. And I oscillate between, entity set names should be plural or they should be singular. And cap, has the convention for entities. I think the convention for entities, I can't remember. Somebody remind me. Is it singular or plural? You see, that's the thing. You know, you can argue either way. So, you know, I wouldn't disagree with you. Christian, Mark Teichmann, that's what me also confuses all. When to use plural and when not. I think it's more of a, you know, what's your convention? You know, it doesn't really matter. Obviously, I know you know that. But it's just a convention. In the early days, before CAP came along, you know, I was doing OData a long time ago. I used to by, you know, by default, always name my entity sets in the plural. And if you think about the way that you would address an entity within an entity set, you know, in the URL, you know, entity name, entity set name, brackets, key, then that sort of makes sense. That you could argue that makes sense if the entity set name is singular, but you could also argue that it makes sense if the entity set name is plural. I don't know. It's a very good question. There's no definitive answer, I don't think. It's how you feel about it, I think. Anyway, what was I doing? Oh yes, code. Yes, there we go. So where's the code thing here? Here we go. I'm going to open file. Doesn't it feel weird me using a menu in every open folder? I hate the word folder. Why can't you use the proper word directory? Where is it? Scratch. Hands on SAP. Let's open that. So these are the files that we've downloaded, and that's that sort of the soft symbolic link. If we look at the EDMX file, again, it's not very helpful. However, I can say open with, and I have this thing here. In fact, I'll show you. CSDL. There's a really cool extension, OData CSDL Modeler. Look at it on the marketplace. Let me share that with you. It's really cool. Let's go there. And what it allows you to do is, where's the thing? EDMX, right click, open with CSDL Modeler. And again, it's all about staring at this stuff, right? Just take your time and let it all wash over you, because there's so much rich information here. Even on the right hand side, which I've only really, you know, recently just noticed, it gives you all this sort of, you know, contextual information as well. What version? It's version 2. What's the namespace? Remember the namespace, this API business partner sort of prefix that we see everywhere? That's the namespace. In fact, where is it? If we go to the top, there, get rid of the there. Schema, namespace, make that a bit bigger. Namespace API business partner, right? This is the namespace of the schema, right? The namespace of all the things within it. Okay. You know, and it makes sense that the namespace is the actual name of the API business partner. Now, where were we? Oh yeah, here we go. So now check this out. Check it out. We can see here a business partner. Where is it? I don't know where it is. A business partner. Is it in alphabetical order? A business partner type. A business partner type. Now let's just scroll up again. We got entity types and we got entity sets. We're seeing this information just exactly in the same way as it's presented here in the EDMX, in the OData metadata. We get a ton of entity types, and then we get entity set. Then we get a ton of entity sets: address, email address, fax number, address, home page, all that stuff, right? We get it here: address, email address, fax number, home page, blah, blah, blah. It's all the same thing. You can look at this and then have a look at entity types, for example, and we get all the types. So where's the business? Where is it? Business partner type. And if you click on it, it goes straight there. Look at that. Who knew? Who knew? So we can see that the business partner type has business. Is that big enough, by the way? Am I bigger? Oh, actually, hold on. No, I don't want to make that the whole thing bigger. I should be able to, there we go, zoom in with the thing on the mouse. There we get all these different properties. And the business partner, string 10, is the key, just like we saw in the metadata. Now that we've got that feel a little bit closer, the next thing I would normally do is say, well, let me have a go. Let me have a try. Let me kick the tires. And we've kicked the tires sort of in the, in the SAP API Business Hub. See, I'm saying it properly, not shortening it. I get told off. But I'd like to try it, on my own machine. And if we have a look at the overview, down here we saw somewhere configuration details. We didn't look at that. We get the production URL, which obviously is the important thing, right? Where is your, what's the host name of the SAP S/4HANA Cloud that is allocated to you, and the port necessarily as well. And then it's the same path, SAP OPU OData SAP API Business Partner. Now, the endpoint, as in the server that we hit when we try these things out in the try out, is the sandbox environment. You can also define your own environments as well, but we're not going to go there. So this is a fixed address, and we can actually use this ourselves. Now, shall we do everything in what's it called? What's it called? VS Code. Let's do everything in VS Code rather than the terminal. I don't know. I mean, there's a terminal here, right? But let me be modern. Actually, if I'm going to be modern, I'm going to be using, of course, the terminal. Let's use the terminal for now. Here we go. Right. Yes. So, curl verbose URL. Let's just try it first of all. See what happens, shall we? Okay, we get a response. That response is unauthorized. But also we get here a fault. In fact, let's do that again and then pipe that into JQ to just prettify it a little bit. Failed to resolve API key variable request. API key variable request.header.api key. Okay, so this is telling us that we need an API key. Now, request.header.api key, what the heck is that? Well, effectively, if you think about the pattern of systems that process HTTP requests and spit out responses, you'll have a request object and you'll have a response object. That request object will have, a payload, maybe, and it'll have other attributes, and it'll have a number of headers, and those headers are available probably in an object called header, right? So request.header.api key is the API key header in the request object, right? So, I know it sounds obvious, but, just it's nice to stare at these things and think about whoever wrote that fault string is thinking in terms of how they are on the server side processing this thing. I haven't got an API key, so let's give it an API key. And notice here somewhere, show API key. Now I'm going to go and click that, but I want to use this more. Right? I've got my secret. There we go. Show the API key. There we go. Copy key and close. There we go. Back to main. There we go. Did that work? Oh, there we go. And actually, I didn't need to do that anyway, because I've got in my password store a API hub, API hub entry where I store the API key that's associated with my main identity, right? So I'm going to say export API key equals pass API hub main API key. It's going to, ask me to unlock the thing. Okay, so I've now got the value of the API key, which is the thing that I grabbed here inside of environment variables. So I can now retry that. In fact, let's have a look. Let's edit that and say header API key. Actually, it doesn't really matter what. I don't think it matters whether it's uppercase or lowercase. API key. There we go. Shall we try that? See what happens? So all I've done is added a header. Okay, so it's not a basic authentication. It's not any sort of standard authentication. It just needs a header with the API key in it. Okay, so we don't get a 401 anymore. We get a 307. temporary redirect. That's interesting. So that's fine. That's fine. And actually, look at the redirect. If we have a look at where we went, we said sandbox API SAP com blah 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 API business partner with no trailing slash. But what it says is, oh, I'm redirecting you. Go to this location. Blah 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 with a trailing slash. So we can just tell curl. Let's edit that again. Where's the one we did last time? There. Edit that and say follow location redirects. So if you told her to go somewhere else, please for me. Let's do that, right? Let's do that. Okay. So far, so good. So again, it's not anything scary. All we're doing is trying to get some information. Now, what we get? What do we get? Oh, here we go. What's going on? We get an OK. Okay, so we've got the API key. The API key seems to be okay, legit. But what do we get here? We get warning: binary output can mess up your terminal. Use -- output. Now, binary output. What the heck is going on? Shall we try that? Let's go and edit that and say output something binary, but output it to a file called something binary. Okay, fine. Let's have a look at it. What's that? That is because, in fact, we can see it there, can't we? It's because the content encoding is gzipped. So by default, the API Hub sandbox will send us stuff in a nice sort of nicely efficient way. It will gzip the content up for a quicker response because it has to transfer less data because it's all compressed. But it doesn't help us because we get the compressed data, so we got to uncompress it. Now I think, oops, blah blah, compressed. Let's just do that in color so you can see it. I've now added the -- compress to say curl ask for and or expect the response to be compressed. Hopefully that will now give us some data, right? So we now get the data. What data is this? Does this sort of look familiar? I hope it looks a little bit like, whoa, because it's XML, right? It's XML. So why don't we put that into metadata.xml. Oh, actually, is it? No, it's not the metadata, is it? It's not the metadata. We didn't ask for the metadata. Who knows, before we talk about anything else, who knows what this is? OData has two well-known endpoints, any OData service. If we wanted the metadata, we'd ask for that, wouldn't we? Okay, so let's do that. So let's look at the metadata. We get the metadata. Oh, nice little flag there. Woo, woo. And we can also open that. Open file. Let's open that in there. What's going on? What's going on? Metadata. Open that file. That's the same file, isn't it? That's the same metadata. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Metadata. What's going on? Where are we? Hands on SAP Dev. Metadata. No, that's not that is the service document. What's going on? What did I do wrong? Dollar metadata. Oh, This is awesome. This is awesome. Can anybody tell what's happened? I've said, in fact, let's do this like this. Let's edit that. Let's just pipe that into a sort of paging program and have a look what we get. Okay. Let's run that. Okay. Down a little bit. That's not metadata, is it? It's XML. We get something. What is that something? That something is the service document, isn't it? Right? This is the service document. Every OData service has a service document that basically is like the front door, the main menu of what you can get with this OData service. And of course, we have the real origins of OData, which is Atom, the Atom publishing protocol and the Atom format, the syndication format, which an Atom is it's like RSS. Think of RSS, it's Atom's RSS, or the same. It's a feed format, okay, a syndication format, and that's where OData came from. So this is the service document, right, with all the different possible things you can have, right? App workspace you can have is a collection. There's a collection of email addresses, it's a collection of business partners, right? The reason we're getting the service document, even when it looks like we're asking for the metadata, is because $metadata, my shell is interpreting, because it's in double quotes, is interpreting the $metadata as a variable, which is empty. So it's effectively asking for the equivalent of, that. Okay, so let's put that back in single quote, so the dollar remains dollar and metadata remains metadata. Does that make sense? That was quite exciting and unexpected. Metadata, let's run that. Let's go back here and refresh. There we go, there's the metadata. There's the metadata, right. So we get all this cool stuff, right? Notice, I've just noticed, have I just noticed anything? No, it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. It's just nicely sort of, actually no, wait a minute, it does look different, doesn't it? I mean, it's the same, but it's different. Does that make sense? Let's get rid of that. This is what we downloaded from the API Hub. Let's look at this entity type. Is it the same? It's the same, isn't it? Yeah. Address, email type, blah, blah, blah. Yep, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, might have just been because it was different font size. Good morning, VJ, to you in Stuttgart in Germany. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, so we're now able to access the API endpoints. Now, in fact, why don't we now bring our knowledge of a business partner, dollar top equals 2. Let's just have the first 2, right? And put that into business partner. In fact, let's just do that. Okay. So now we're not looking at the service document. We're not looking at the metadata document. We're just saying, give us this particular. Let's access this entity set, right? Singular, and use the OData $top system query option to say, just give us 2 of them, right? The first 2. Let's run that. Oh, what's going on? A business partner. What? Oh, sorry. Misspelling. Business partner. There we go. We know that already. We've seen that. That's the entity set name, isn't it? A business partner. Remember? A business partner. There. Right, there we go. There's some annotations as well. That's why the OData, the metadata is so long, because thousands of annotations. Why are there annotations in this? Because it's an A to X API, right? It includes not only the information about the data itself, this business partner, that address, but also annotations that might help a UI, a front end, because we don't know the type of application that's going to consume it. It might be a front end application, so it might benefit from some UI information. So that's why this API has sort of annotations as well. So it's business partner, obviously camel case type thing, not underscore. Ulrich, good morning. And I thought I was late. Good morning again from Frankfurt. That's okay. Business partner, let's run that again. What's happening? There we go. Now, let's just put that in the file, actually, after all. Yeah, let's put it in the file. Boopart2 business partners.xml. Let's open that. We get rid of that. Get rid of that. No, let's open that again. Don't need that. Let's just open that. There we go. 2 business partners. So now we're starting to access actual business partners from the sandbox. Okay, so we can start to sort of play. In fact, can we do this as well? and $format equals JSON, the old-fashioned way, right? JSON. Let's go back. JSON, there we go, JSON. There's that D, there's that OData D, right? There's the results, just like we saw in the API Hub, right? Final thing I want to show you, because it's just so easy to do. So let's do it. Got 5 minutes left, 8:55 and 17 seconds. Where's my thing? Yeah, here we go. Right, now, let's close that. We've got the API Business Partner, EDMX. I happen to have CDS installed, CAP, the SDK, CDS V, CDS version tells us, right, I've got the CDS DK, the development kit. Now, what I've got in here, I've got various bits of nonsense here. Let's get rid of all the XML files. We don't need those anymore. Star.json and star.yaml. So all we've got now, remove something binary. There we go. All we've got in this, I could even use this, couldn't I? That's a bit modern. There we go. There, right? All I've got is the API Business Partner EDMX file. Do you want to know how easy it is to start generating an application based upon this external API? Check it out. CDS, I'm going to do CDS init. I'm going to initialize a new CDS project and also CDS watch. Okay. Nothing. There's nothing there now. There's nothing. I'm going to open another. What's it called? Bash. Another bash. There we go. How do I get the terminal side by side? I don't know. Anyway, now CDS import that file. Import CDS. Right. One command. CDS import that file. Bring in that file and do something with it. Do something magical with it. And we can see on the other one, it says, "Oh, hello. I've suddenly seen." Well, so what happens with the CDS import? What it does, my stomach's grumbling. I'm really hungry. It goes and looks at the EDMX, looks at the metadata, right, and converts it into season. The CAP internal JSON-based data API format, right? I don't even know what I've said there. And it says, "Oh, this can be an external API. Let me expose that." Right? That's what all this stuff is doing here. Now, if I click on this now, what's going on? What's going to happen? Right click, no, command click. There we go. So all right, CDS init, one command. CDS import file name, another command. Bang, we've got API Business Partner. There is the JSON. So this is exposing this OData service, but CDS by default, CDS naturally will spit out an OData v4 service. So there is the OData v4 version of the service document. And there is the OData v4 metadata document. Look at that. How beautiful is that? So we've got the metadata document here, entity sets, properties, everything, right? So we can start consuming this and binding this external service in. But not only that, we've also got all the different endpoints that are being mocked. So business partner, go to business partner there. Okay, there's no data, but if I create, I've got 2 minutes. If I create, let's go here, right? Let's just, let's put it in here. External, new file. What's it called? Oh, it's going to be, by default, again, convention over configuration, the most beautiful thing that CAP brought to the table. Well, not the most beautiful thing, but a beautiful thing is convention over configuration. Do the right thing and it will do the right thing for you. Put in a directory called data, call it by the API, the namespace API Business Partner dash, and then we want the entity set name, don't we? A business, make this a bit bigger. How do you do that? There we go, like that. Business partner.csv. Put something in there. Now, what have we got here? What have we got? What's the metadata? Business partner. Oh, a business partner, entity type, a business partner. Notice that it really has sort of embraced and chewed up and consumed and spitting out a new, cleaner, beautiful version. So we got the type. It's not called a business partner anymore. A business partner type. It's called a business partner. So anyway, business entity type name equals a business partner. There we go. Oh, business partner and business partner full name. Right, let's copy that. A business, oh, I'll paste it in, business partner full name. DJ, Mark, Ulrich, VJ, AP, etc. Antonio, Christian. Let me scroll up. Oh, I've misspelled your name. I know that. Sorry. Mark and Marianne, Christian, Mark, Marianne. Who else is in there? I don't know. There we go. Right. So now what's happened? What's happened? We say that's been saved or auto saved. Business. Oh, null constraint. What have I done wrong? What have I done wrong? API business partner. Oh, business. Oh, business partner. Oh, yeah, we need the business partner as well, don't we? Business partner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Comma. This is not the way to do it, but anyway, there we go. There we go. What's going on now? What was happening was just, you need to give me the key. You know, you need values for the key as well. So now if we go here, will it work? Will it work? Will it work? Business partner. We've got data. We've got our own data, so we can consume that. Give our own data. Where's the? Oh, there's DJ there. Who else is there? Mark there. Look at that. Oh. How good is that? So we can take an API specification, download it, have a look at it, get a feel for it, and then 2 commands. What one doesn't really count because it's creating the CDS projects in the first place, CAP project. 1 command, get it done. Go and have a play. That's it. Been over by a minute. Oh my goodness me. There we go. So happy Friday, happy weekend, and maybe we'll continue this next week. Let me know in the chat whether it's worth exploring a little bit more. You know, just feeling our way to super simple things, right? Let me know in the chat. Thanks very much indeed, and yeah, see you soon. Bye.